Hope it's not even tasted on there. Hi everybody, welcome back. So today's walk, to keep it local, because I don't have any choice, is I've come to the back of Worthing, to a place called Honeysuckle Lane, and I'm going up Honeysuckle Lane, which I'm going up now, and then I'm on my way to Clapham Woods. And the reason I'm going to Clapham Woods is because I'm going to tell you a little bit about a story that happened to me, but also, and a little bit of history about the place, but also because I want to take my Lixada Wood Stove and Trangia burner and try the two together. I've used it as a wood stove, but haven't used the Trangia adapter. So I'm going to go up into the woods, give that a go, make myself a cup of tea, and on the way I shall tell you the story. What I forgot to say is that I will put some links in the description below for the Lixada Wood Stove, so you can look at my video on that before you watch this one. And I should also put some links in there that tells you about Clapham Woods, its location and its map, and it is worth clicking onto that and having a read, because it's quite interesting, a little macabre, but more about that in a little while. So now I'm approaching Clapham Woods. Well, that's seen better days. Still, if anyone's interested, a bit of a fixer-upper maybe. Okay, so let me tell you my story. So my story was that I was out, decided to go out geocaching, or night caching shall I say, and my phone suddenly started going all funny. I couldn't type in, it wouldn't text, but it was typing weird random letters on its own without me even touching it, which was really, really bizarre. So I phoned my wife, and I did get to speak to her, and said, you know, this feels all a bit strange. I don't get spooked when I'm out at night. It doesn't bother me. Never get scared backpacking or camping or walking or night hiking. But then just at that moment, it all felt a bit strange. I didn't feel quite right. It suddenly got all misty, and I went up this small path to find the next cache, and I actually said to my wife, I said, actually, do you know what? I think I've spooked myself, and I just don't feel right. I suddenly feel uncomfortable and don't feel safe. So I essentially turned tail and legged it back down the hill and went home. And I didn't really think anything more of it, other than I just thought, well, I'm just being a bit silly really, and just spooked myself. Okay, so after essentially legging it home with my towel between my legs, when I got home, my daughter had come home and said, you know, hi Dad, how are you? She said, oh, where have you been? I said, Clapham Woods. She said, Clapham Woods? I said, yeah, Clapham Woods. She goes, what do you go there for? I said, well, I just went out there. She goes, have you not heard the stories about Clapham Woods? I said, no, I haven't heard the stories about Clapham Woods. And she goes, oh, you don't want to go there? It's not a good place to go. So I happened to mention this to my brother-in-law and a friend of mine, and they both said exactly the same thing. Clapham Woods? What do you want to go there for? Do you not know about Clapham Woods? I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So they said, you need to look it up. So I did. Okay, so let me tell you about Clapham Woods. So according to an article by Nick Brownlow in the 14 Times, that's FORTEAN Times magazine, there's been reports of UFO sightings, pets going missing, the area coming over in a mist, people feeling ill and nauseous, and the having sensations of being pushed or followed. So that's quite interesting. So there's apparently a spot for those that like extraterrestrial activity to come. So in addition to that article, there has also been 4 bodies found up here. One was a homeless person, there was a police constable, and there was a chap that was up here. I think it might have been a reverend actually that was up here looking for his lost horse, or somebody, the reverend and somebody else that was looking for a lost horse. But essentially there's been 4 bodies found up here. Apparently dogs and horses have gone missing. So there's a satanic cult called the Friends of Hecate, which apparently Hecate, if that's the correct pronunciation, is a mythological Greek goddess. And there's been lots of stories about rituals and the occult using the place and coming up here. And I've just got to a place which we know as the Witch's Tree. Apparently, rumour has it that this tree is one of the largest indigenous trees still remaining in this country. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I shall show you that tree now so you can have a look. So we are coming up to the famous, or should I say infamous, Witch's Tree. Now I've been here quite a few times. I have to say it is a lovely big tree, and every time you come here there's always seems to be something hanging from the tree, whether it's that people have put here. Now I've been told that some of this might possibly be pagan knitting. I don't know, I'll leave you to decide whether that's true or not, but somebody else told me that sometimes pagan knitting is pinned up there. But oh yeah, I know nothing about pagan knitting, but if you know, let me know, comments below. But yeah, but we all know it locally as the Witch's Tree. Okay, so for today's tea stop, I've bought the Lixada Wood Stove. You would have seen that in a video that I did a few weeks ago. I'll put a link in the description if you want to have a look at that. So I brought that along, and when I mentioned that, I mentioned that in theory it should take the Trangia stove as well. So I brought the Trangia along and thought I'd give it a go and see how we get on with it. And some fuel and my Tokes pot, and make myself a quick cup of tea and a quick snack before heading back. Okay, so I'm just going to build the Trangia. Last video it was in the dark, so you couldn't see it very well. So you can see it a bit better here. Essentially, that goes in there. That goes in there. Get it in. And then the Trangia adapter goes in there. And then we close it all up. It's all hinged. There's a pin put in there, and then away you go. Firewood in there if you need it, but not today because we're going to use the Trangia. So Trangia stove today. I'm sure you've seen these before. weighs a little over 100 grams. I'll put the weight on the bottom of the screen. But essentially your methylated spirits or your denatured alcohol or bioethanol fuel, which is what I'm using today, goes in there. Set it alight, and then after a minute or so it blooms and the flame comes through these, you can see through these holes here. And then you've got a lid that goes on top, which can be used as a flame adjuster to control the flame. And then with this one, it's got a rubber O-ring, so you can actually leave the fuel in it and do it up and put it back in your pack, although put it in a bag like I do just in case it leaks. But not all of them do that, but the Trangia does. Okay, so this hasn't gone quite according to plan, because it did say that it should take a bioethanol fuel burner, but when I put that in there, it actually doesn't go, it only just goes into the hole, and it doesn't actually slot down to this lip that's on here. So therefore it sits really high, and if I put my pot on top, then actually it's going to sit and touch the top of that and actually snuff the flame out. So that's a bit disappointing, really. It's I guess it will fit some bioethanol burners, but it certainly doesn't really properly fit the Trangia. So if you're going to buy the Lixada small wood stove and you've got a Trangia, it doesn't fit in that holder. Okay, so what I've done, I've taken that ring out. That's obviously no good to me, so I won't bring that with me next time because it's a waste and it's a little bit of additional weight. But I have managed to fit it in there, so I think that should give me a high enough flame to still manage to boil my water for my cup of tea, but we shall see. Okay, so hopefully you can see that, but I've lit the Trangia with the fire still. It's now starting to bloom and the flames coming out the side. When you first light them, it's very difficult if you're using bioethanol fuel to know whether it's a light or not, so you have to be very careful and just check gently with your hand to make sure you can feel some warmth coming through when you light it. But you can use methylated spirits as well if you wish, but you do need to put a little bit of water in methylated spirits. I think it's 5% water, because otherwise it soots up and it can block the holes or whatever. But yeah, I'm using bioethanol fuel, so I measured my cup of water, put it on there, get the lid on. If I'm making tea, I buy these individual tea bag portions. Others are available, and if you can see these individual milks, although if I'm backpacking I actually take powdered milk, because these have a tendency of splitting and also they're heavier, so there's less to go wrong when you're backpacking, but for a day hike they're fine. Okay, so that doesn't appear to have taken very long. There you go. Nice rolling ball, job done. So we'll take that off and pour the tea. Still a bit of fuel left in the Trangia, which is quite nice actually for a bit of warmth on a cold day like this. But essentially I showed you this flame adjuster, and in order to conserve the fuel, because this particular burner does actually seal well, so the bioethanol doesn't leak, although I know others that don't do that and could leak, so you probably have to empty them and pour them back in, and I essentially just carry a small mini Nalgene bottle with a squirty lid adapter to squirt it in. But all I've got to do to put it out is essentially just to drop that on top, and that's it. That essentially puts it out. Take it off and you can see it's gone out, and then I'll just let that cool down, and then I'll screw the lid on, put it in the bag, and that fuel that's left in there will be ready for next time. Okay, so little slightly miffed and disappointed that the Lixada didn't really take the Trangia in the way it should. The space between the top of the Trangia and the bottom of the pot where I rest the pot on was fine, and actually it had no problems in boiling that water at all, and actually it didn't take very long at all to do it. I know sometimes the Trangias can take, I think it's something about 10 minutes to boil about a litre of water, but I've only got a cup, so literally it only took a few minutes. So as much as it was slightly disappointing that it didn't take, the adapter didn't work, it still worked perfectly fine, so I'm still happy with it, and I shall take the Trangia out when I've got it and use it together. It also doubles up the fact that if you are out in the woods, you know, you've got the options of if you've got the skills to have a little bit of a wood fire, or use the Trangia as a backup. So yeah, that's okay. So I'm going to have a cup of tea and one of these little chocolate bars that seem to be a new thing, only 95 calories, so I can use that as an excuse to get away with eating it. Have a cup of tea, have a chocolate, and then I'll wait back. Okay, so I'm nearly down at Honeysuckle, and then that's it for the day really. Shorter video, but just wanted to get out and try the Lixada and Trangia together, see what it's like. Hope you enjoyed the story about Clapham Woods and the macabre history and about it, and thank you very much for watching. So if you've got any comments about the wood stove or Clapham Woods or any other ghostly or macabre stories, then let me know. Put in the comments below. Please like, subscribe and press that notification bell if you fancy it. Thank you very much for joining me, and who knows what's going to happen next, because the environment's just changing rapidly. So, but hopefully very soon I shall see you in the next one. Thank you very much, take care and be safe, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.